Reaching for the, reaching for the, reaching for the stars. Reaching for the stars.
Boy.
I'm just reaching and reaching.
Peace, world. Welcome to another episode of the Live to Legendary podcast with my co-host Scoe. Today, very special guest. This man is on the news so much you think he's an anchor. This man has so many awards you think he's the mayor. He is a community leader, a father, a husband, a servant, an entrepreneur, an idealist, a philanthropist, and just a community hero. I'm honored to have him on here today. Give it up, y'all, for Ryan Harris.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for having me.
Man.
For sure,
Got
for
the
sure.
seed
Man.
planted in the building today.
Absolutely.
Sure, Mr. Green, though.
Yeah, so thank you for having me, man. It's been a long time coming. We were supposed to been had this meeting, but it's all, divine timing. Y'all got a 2-for-1 treat today. I bought my man from Frankfurt. We trying to figure out how we can share resources and, do what we need to do to make sure we take care of the youngins. So this is like my brother in this work, man. Outside of that, my brother in Christ, you know what I mean? So.
Train up a child in the way he should go. What does that mean to you?
Say it again.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. That's heavily represented all through your organization. I see Proverbs 22:6 everywhere.
It's so crazy that you starting off like that because that's we in it. I mean, you know how you gotta get into the deep conversation. That's it right there. Proverbs 22:6 is, I'm a product of it. So even through my trials, tribulations, trauma that I had to endure through, whatever I was trained up to be, them core values was instilled in me and created who I am today. So everything I was trained up to be as a young child, whether I was listening haphazardly or taking it all in or whatever the case may be, those lessons didn't ever leave from me.
Right.
And that's like your foundation. Like when you get lost, you have something to come back to.
Right.
And I had, a solid foundation to come back to that wasn't shaky, that whenever I strayed away too far, I was always able to come back to something that would give me context of, I know why I'm here. I need what I need to do next. You know what I mean? So train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's older, he will not depart from it, man. That's my life. I'm living it out, and I was raised on Christian principles, morals, and values. Raised up in the church, and it took a long time because you fight. You gonna fight, anything that you rebelling from that felt like trauma in your life. To be honest, and I thank God that my foundation was stronger than the trauma that I went through.
Yeah. I love that, man. I ain't gonna hold you. When I saw that all through your organization, I was impressed because most folks, they more Psalms, that's the favorite thing. You know what I'm saying? My cup runneth over, that's everybody. But then also, like, when I'm reading Proverbs, I'm thinking about you, it's more, what it say? He that hath the bountiful eyes shall be blessed, for he giveth his bread to the poor. And I mean, like, you give your time.
He snapping.
I'm saying, like, because I'm also in there, you know what I'm saying? So when I read that, I thought about you. So when you hit the Proverbs 22:6, I said, damn, that whole John might be just screaming you.
No, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that was just.
No, I appreciate that. And
I appreciate you.
That just speaks to the work that we doing and the unwavering faith that we got while we doing it.
Yeah.
This work not easy.
Not at all.
You need resources, you need connections, you need to go through the gauntlet to get where you need to get to be able to have the resources and provide people with the adequate services that they need.
Right.
If you're not doing that, then you're doing them a disservice.
How did your faith grow so strong?
Before you answer that, I want to give more detail to that. He stood outside on Board and Huntington Park. Like, that's like, Board and Huntington Park, look it up.
The trenches.
I ain't even walking around there through my car. Like, he stayed outside for how long, sir?
2.5 days.
Yeah.
2.5 days you out there for? No, you wasn't.
The first time I went out there, the second time I went out there with Buddha. But the first time we raised $30,000, 2.5 days praying and fasting. That's how we got the building. And then 2022, I linked up with Buddha because of what was going on in the city with the youth, the funding. It was just a lot of problems, and it was going into a hot summer where people was getting killed a lot. This is 2022. And we was just trying to figure out how we gonna maintain the work that we doing through the summer without no funding. And I'm like, Buddha, You know, God did it before, so let's go stand outside and let's go get his money. We were like, come on. And Brown. And Brown, also shout out to Ant Brown. He stepped out and we did it together for the second time, and we raised $50,000. Was able to break that down and take it to our organizations and take care of the summer.
Had the kids out there with us.
Absolutely. From our organization, yeah, for 2 weeks. And I think I lost like 45 pounds in 2 weeks.
You was brushing your teeth out there.
Absolutely. I was living out there. My family was telling me like, yo, you gotta get off the corner.
Like, that's a big dream. How did that impact like your family and like, you know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure with doing stuff like that, there's time away.
Absolutely.
There's times when like your moves are misunderstood.
Absolutely.
So you gotta stay tunnel vision.
Absolutely.
How did that impact your family life and your friend of that?
I'm so lucky to have a beautiful support system that I got. From day one, when I decided to do this work in 2012, it wasn't no question about was we going to be able to do it or accomplish what we set out to do. We came together as a community, what it's supposed to look like. And the very, very different, unique thing about what we got going on, and I like to tell people it's a little bit different in Hunting Park because I'm really from there. Born and raised, it's a little bit different when you born and raised there all your life and you see the generations, you see what's happening to your community, you see what's happening to your friends, kids, and people before them, generational of going to jail and poverty and all that, it just continues. So to have that kind of support system, to believe that we can accomplish that, you know, that was something that gave me, you know, the boost and the battery that I needed to continue or to even just start. And once we got the ball rolling, it was just like meeting God halfway. Because none of the stuff that I'm doing right now has nothing to do with me.
Watch this. As I plant your seed, so from a seed goes a tree.
Absolutely.
So through him planting his seed in the park, he got the tree house.
Absolutely.
Tell us about the tree house.
So the tree house was in result of the 30K fundraiser that we did outside. And we was able to take that money and be able to partner with Hunting Park Neck is in around the corner. Well, it was actually down the street from the house that I grew up in, where my mom still lived. And Mr. Charles, he was, you know, it was an abandoned property just sitting there, and it used to be like connected to the community center, this actual building that they own. And we was able to partner to pay the taxes off to be able to get the building. And they was actually thinking about letting it go because nobody could maintain it, they couldn't afford it. And we was able to step right in and utilize the money to fix the building up because it was like abandoned. Turned a 3-bedroom house into a full-fledged community center, running 13 programs officially out the treehouse right now.
I done seen a real question. Ask him when do he sleep, bro?
How did Buddha add on to what you're doing?
Yeah.
I mean, Buddha was just always another voice that I could see that was doing the real work. Everybody work almost kind of look the same when you're on the outside looking in, but when you're on the inside looking out, you can see what's really going on. Right. And I like to connect with people that's really in their community, that don't got no ego, and that's willing to go up and beyond for the kids, and that's him right there.
So this question's for both of y'all then. When you actually start hearing your calls?
Cheney, man.
Cheney was crazy. That was a project.
Yeah. I don't regret nothing. I don't regret nothing that, you know, I experienced up there. But Cheney was not the time that I was being I was being pruned at Cheney. My mentor, God rest his soul, Dr. Flynn, he was my professor. And it took me 7 years to graduate from Cheney, if nobody know that. I always tell the story because I was supposed to graduate 2008. I really graduated 2011. And my kid was born in 07. I got a job. I've been at Jefferson Hospital for 17 years now. My kid's about to be 18. So that's how long I've been working there. When it was born, I knew I had to go get a job. But I was in school actively. And having twins ain't easy, so I had to make sure I had a job. But while I was literally going through, while I was going through school, when the twins was born, I was making every excuse not to finish school. And my professor, Dr. Flynn, the one that I went to school for recreation leader management, and he really gave me all this insight on how to infiltrate the community and make it better. Best thing about me not having to infiltrate is because I was already from the community. So I had a leg up, and I just took the information that he gave me and I took it back to my community. But after I graduated, was like, I got a wealth of knowledge. I got experience from doing some of the things that I started doing in the community, already at Cheney, because we had to do that in the classes. And I just crossed it over to real life. And I had to figure out what I wanted to do with the information I had. And I wanted to make it accessible, and I wanted to make it pleasurable for people. Because I know one thing about people, a lot of people not interested in things unless it's pleasurable, entertaining, and it's accessible. And I feel like what I created in my community was to be able to have a place where you could be yourself, but it's also like a place where you don't have to shy away from greatness because you don't see nothing else like it in your community. We giving them the blueprint from information I got from Cheney that cross over into applying it to real life, and it's actually working. And on top of that, you know, my calling in Christ is to really lead people back to who God is, and I'm hoping that I'm showing who God is through me. And those scriptures that you're talking about is literally what I'm doing. I'm not pump faking. You can see the fruit of what I'm doing.
Real servant.
You know what I mean? So
real servant. So Buddha, tell us about how you got your calling and what made you want to join forces with Ryan.
Now it's just like, yo, it was meant to be. Like the position I was in, like growing up from Frankfurt, you know what I'm saying? Like being around, having a bunch of friends, starting off with like little league football, playing for the Chargers. Shout out to the Frankfurt Chargers too. I want to say that because they just won. They won the 8 years for the championship. So shout out to them. And so Frankfurt, like outside looking in, people see a bad perception on it. Like not a lot of
absolutely
just
for
like,
sure.
You know,
wait for that train, nigga. Get off the I'm going. I hate that bar crossing the train. You know, shut that shit down. What is
Frankfurt
that?
Terminal or Bad Jones?
Growing up and seeing the different obstacles my friends was facing, the people around me, you know, the dying in front of you, seeing dead bodies,
the fiends,
like, the fiends, but just knowing like damn, Frankfurt was other real special people there, you know what I'm saying? Like great entrepreneurs and being able to connect. So I always was kind of like a trendsetter in my neighborhood, always was a leader, like I said, for football, playing quarterback. So I always was seeing those leadership values in me, and then just like I said, learning from my mistakes and stuff, it just prepared me to like being the man I am today, to kind of like see the young generation going through the same route we was going through, or you know what I'm saying, the guidance, the lack of resources. So just being able to like connect and have access to bring back to that neighborhood. Like looking back, like I said, my mom gave me the name Buddha at 1 year old. So not even on no religious tip, but like just what it stand for and stuff. Like, in today's world.
What does Buddha stand for you? Like people might not know.
For me, it's just like as far as like I said, I don't want to go to the religious part of it, but just a person that, you know, was able to connect people and help people through peace and unify people, no matter what you look like, no matter, you know, the politics, the race, the religion, just be able to bring people together, you know what I'm saying?
So you was locked in from,
I was locked
early.
Yeah, I was locked in early, bro, because I remember watching an interview on MTV, like when I was like 8 years old. I forget the artist that was on there, but he was saying like, I always felt like inside I'm gonna be somebody when I grow up. You know what I mean? I was gonna be somebody. So I had got that feeling at an early age, like yo, like my purpose is, you know what I mean? It's meant for me to do something. I didn't know I was gonna be doing this type of work, but it's here now. And then I knew it. Yeah, I felt it. And then with Ryan, I met Ryan. So like I hopped on the on Instagram like around 2014. I was kind of like a little late to Instagram. I hopped on there, and then when I started, you know, doing the nonprofit work, the community work. He already was doing his thing. He had like a group of kids. I think we had the opportunity to like merge our kids to do like a conference somewhere with this big business from like Virginia or something came down to Philly. That's when I first met him. Like I had probably like 20 kids. He had 20 kids. We met downtown, but we really didn't even know each other.
We didn't really know each other, right?
That was like the first initial time I met him, and like he said, our work was just aligned with each other.
It's a mirror. It was like, yo, you really the same person I am in Frankfurt. And coming up playing football, I came up playing football, so I know he got that structure of morals and values from the coaches that we was getting. You know what I mean? So we was living in two different areas, but mirroring the same life almost. You know what I mean? So that was a common denominator that, you know, connected us in our youth. And then what we was doing, activism in the street, was it was unheard of to be walking around with 20, 30 kids. Early 10 years ago, before everybody started jumping on the wave and making it seem like, oh, this is the cool thing to do. But we was really like, we had these kids, there were 20 kids. We taking 14, 15 years old, I probably wasn't nothing but 25. You know what I mean? 26 years old.